In late 2024, after 20 years of innovation, we at NetBrain proudly released our newest version of our next-gen platform, which combines AI and automation to solve the toughest network challenges and accelerate your business outcomes. One of the main challenges facing modern enterprises today is understanding how AI can help network teams achieve their efficiency goals. NetBrain Release 12 addresses this problem with the addition of an AI bot accessible from any map. NetBrain's AI bot acts as an orchestrator, leveraging operations such as execution of CLI commands, automations, or even performing lookups against the NetBrain database to answer any network questions or perform any network analysis while providing key, actionable insight. I'm sure many of you watching have used a tool like ChatGPT or Google Gemini, something similar to those in the past. But have you ever wondered how AI can be leveraged for day-to-day networking tasks? The NetBrain AI bot provides a user-friendly conversational interface that simplifies how we interact with automation and the live network. You can issue commands, request insights, and trigger automation just by using natural language, making the technology more accessible to non-technical users. It's no longer necessary to understand complex scripts or issue sets of commands to get valuable insights from your network. The best part, it serves as a map companion, enabling you to execute queries and automations on map devices. NetBrain's AI bot can enhance the map by adding devices, displaying automation results, adding notes, and so much more. The AI bot can also schedule automations and display the execution results to further enhance and streamline your workflows. What makes NetBrain's AI bot so powerful is that the AI bot can look up information discovered by NetBrain, access the live network to perform analysis, and leverage your already built automations. When performing any of these tasks, AI follows three core values: advise, orchestrate, and summarize. Let's talk about advise. AI can advise on essential steps you can take to perform your daily network operations. Action plans can also be used to create tailored steps for certain operations that can be executed via a quick shortcut. Orchestrate. NetBrain's AI bot can utilize different methods, including CLI command execution, querying NetBrain's database, and executing network intents. These all help the AI get the data it needs to perform the analysis based on your query. Summarize. NetBrain's AI bot can provide easy-to-understand feedback that highlights key, actionable information. With this information, networking tasks such as troubleshooting become more efficient. Now that you understand NetBrain's AI, let's see it in action. I have three amazing demos to show you. First, I will show you how NetBrain's AI companion can help you troubleshoot reachability. Next, I will use NetBrain's AI to help with troubleshooting issues on a network path. And I will conclude this video by showing you how you can use an action plan to enable any user to have the AI companion perform complex actions from a simple shortcut. Let's get started. So I've jumped into my NetBrain environment and I'm on a fresh map here. And you can see here I have the AI bot open, and you can see how it is right here on the left side of the map. And I can just go ahead and start asking the AI different questions and performing different validations. In this case, I'm going to be using the AI bot to troubleshoot a very common network issue that I'm sure a lot of you have faced. And that is troubleshooting reachability to a critical asset. In this case, I have a particular server that users are complaining about reachability problems too. So I'm going to go ahead and actually use NetBrain and, of course, NetBrain's AI bot to help me with the troubleshooting process. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is get some visibility, right? So I want to actually start adding devices to the map, drawing the server, and its directly connected neighbor on the map. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll just simply enter a command here. And that is draw 10.8.1.26, which is the IP of our server. And we'll let the AI go to work. And how awesome is that? It's drawn out the device with that corresponding IP, so that server. And it's the switch is connected at layer 2. So you can see it's connected to Boston switch 3 on port E1/0. Now, this is a really great example of the AI using the NetBrain database to find this information. The AI bot actually went out to NetBrain's database and did a lookup to find this information, right? It found the IP, and then it drew that IP and the switch where it's connected to, because in this case, it is an edge system or a server. So we're able to actually look up that data to come to this conclusion. So let's go ahead now and actually start doing some troubleshooting steps now that we have some devices to start looking at. And to do the troubleshooting, I'm actually going to use an action plan. Now, I talked about action plans briefly at the start, but as a review, an action plan is a series of detailed prompts like you see here, but they can be executed by a shortcut. So I have 4 different steps here as part of this action plan, but I can, instead of having to type out all of those prompts, I can simply execute all of those prompts at the same time with the shortcut here that the action plan provides. So simply, I just need to click on the plan and you see check IP reachability. And all I have to do is enter that IP. So again, my server is 10.8.1.26 and send that prompt to the AI. Now, just using that shortcut, the AI knows to launch all those complicated prompts, right? And to give us the result. I mean, you can already see here some data coming in. I'll just give it a couple seconds to complete the job, and I will tell you kind of everything that's going on as we see new prompts. So we can see now it's run a show ARP command, the CLI, to get some data. It's also running the show Mac. So we've seen here examples of the AI being able to run CLI commands to find the information. And we can see here the map updating automatically, right? How cool is that? And we can see now the final result. So we can see here the results here in a table, and I'll just expand the window here to make it neater. We found the L2 and L3 gateways, again, using that lookup. We did a ping to the IP from the L3 gateways, which we can see here was what we ran, and it was successful. We did a show ARP on to find the MAC address in the ARP table, which we did, right? And we can even see the data source. We also did a show MAC, which looks like we might not have found the MAC table on the L2 gateway, which could be a problem. And then we drew everything that we found on top of the map. And then we have a nice summarization, like I was mentioning here, with just 4 lines. Right? It's that whole table was summarized into 4 lines, giving us the key facts, right? So it is reachable. The MAC was found in the ARP table. It was not found in the L2 gateway, which we need to maybe address. And then all relevant devices were drawn on top of the map, right? And we can see here, it giving us even more notes about that, about it not being found on the L2 gateway's MAC table. Now, we did see, though, that the ping was successful. So another step we could do, is to help us find transient problems, right? So this could be that even though it's reachable now, that doesn't mean that there isn't short periods of time where it goes down, right? Maybe a port's flapping, maybe this MAC address table issue is causing a problem. So maybe we want to actually kind of monitor this for a little bit, right? So how can we do that? Well, we can use another of the AI's orchestration capabilities and have it execute our already built network intents. So I simply can click on automation here. I'm going to look for network intent I have for ping. And here you can see it gives me a little prompt on how to write it. So I can say ping to 10.8.1.26 from the L3 gateways every 2 minutes for 3 times, and the dashboard. So not only are we going to use the network intent here to do some pings to the server from the L3 gateways for, a few times over 2 minutes, we're going to create a dashboard to store those results. So we can then be able to view the results over time, right? In this dashboard. It gives us a more holistic view of our entire operation. So let's go ahead and send that to the AI. Now we'll see here that instead of running a CLI command or a lookup, we're actually seeing network intent being executed here, right? So network intent ping on the device, right? On these 2 devices, switch 2 and switch 3. We can see frequency, total pings, and that a dashboard was created. We can see here that the dashboard was created, and we have a link to open and view that dashboard. So I'll go ahead and open that dashboard. Now, at the outset, it is going to be empty because we are still running those checks. We need to wait for results to come in. So as the results come in, this dashboard will update, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a few moments. I'll come back here when there's some beta and show you. Wasn't that great? Let's continue our AI and automation journey by going through the second demo regarding troubleshooting a network path. So back in my NetBrain environment with the blank map and our AI companion, let's go ahead and start troubleshooting a network path. Now, the first thing we need to do to troubleshoot any network path or network application path is actually draw out that path. So let's go ahead and ask the AI to do that for us. So I'm going to ask it to draw a path between these two IP addresses. Let's go ahead and send that prompt. And what we're seeing happening here is NetBrain is going to draw us the path, or the AI rather is going to draw us the path, and it's going to use NetBrain's built-in AW path functionalities. We're going to leverage those great features and functionalities that exist in NetBrain, but the AI is going to trigger all of these operations. So we can see here that our path is complete. We have the result here, and we can also see it drawn out on top of the map. So we can see it going through a few devices here. I'll remove the AI pane for a second. So we can see it going through, there's a couple of paths through the switches, goes to a VPN, and then ends up after the firewall getting to the destination. Now, I also want to ask the AI to do another thing with this path, and that is to reverse it. I'll simply give it those words. This way I can see the path from both A to B, so my source to destination, and my destination to my source. This will help me understand if there's any problems with the path itself. If the path going back is different, maybe it's adding extra cost or latency, which could be causing issues people are facing. And in this case, we can actually see that is what's happening. The path going back to my source is going through Boston router 2 and then the core service router before getting to Toronto router 1, rather than going through that DMVPN. So we're already identifying some issues here. But we're probably going to want to go in and do some more troubleshooting steps to fully understand any impacts or what is going on with this path and any other potential issues that could be happening. So let's jump back to our AI bot, and now let's ask it to perform some troubleshooting steps. So we'll go ahead and we'll ask it to check uptime for all devices on the map. And now the AI bot will go ahead and get us that information. Now, the AI bot is really powerful. Like I mentioned, it can use our automations, it can use CLI. So we'll see what method it picks here to actually help us retrieve that information. Keep in mind, no matter what it chooses, we're going to get this live from all the devices on the map. And you can see here, it's decided to use a network intent called check uptime. And you'll see an intent here, and then it's been run for every device on the map. And we have the output here in a nice table. And again, at the bottom, we have some data source and other information. But look at this table, we can see the uptimes is all weeks. So nothing's been rebooted recently. And even mentions here, not rebooted in the last 24 hours. And I can also open the details and see the actual intent that was run and even view that intent. So there's a result for our first check. Now let's add some other checks here. Let's go ahead and check some interface metrics, right? Maybe we want to see if there's errors, NT, things like that. So let's go ahead and ask the AI to do this. So checking the interface status, including MTU and errors for the map devices. And we'll go ahead and see what result the AI gives us. We can see again, it's running all the show interface command on every interface that's appearing on the map. And we'll get our output here, our result shortly. So again, for each device, we're getting the output. And I'll expand this here for us. We're getting, for each interface, we're seeing the MTU that's configured, the output errors, and the input errors. So you can read this nice and easily. For each device here on the map, we see that some devices do have input errors and output errors as well. And of course, I could ask the AI to summarize this for me, and give me the key value points as well, right? So that I can understand which interfaces have input errors and focus on those without even having to scroll through the entire result that's here. One more thing I might want to check when troubleshooting a path is QoS. So I can then go ahead and ask it to check for QoS drops occurring on any of the mapped interfaces, or in other words, any of the interfaces on top of the map. So again, let AI go ahead and do its work and talk through the result here momentarily. And we can see here, it's running the show policy map interface command on all the interfaces here on the map to get that necessary information to tell us if QoS drops are currently happening. Imagine having to do all of that yourself on every single device. That would take a lot of time, not to mention the time it would take to analyze the outputs. So let's see what analysis the AI will give us on the outputs. Okay, we can see now we have some tables here with the outputs looking for any drop rates. We can see here it's nice and tabular for each device that we looked at. And as we scroll through here, we can see the summary telling us that there are no packets dropped in QoS. So that's a good sign, right? We're not having QoS problems on this pin. Looks like it could just be a routing issue that's causing this deviation. So that wraps up the second demo for troubleshooting a network path with NetBrain's AI companion. Let's go ahead and jump into the final demo of our video, which is going to be building an action plan for the AI. Another issue solved with the power of AI and no-code network automation. Let's go ahead and jump into the final demo of the video. In the earlier demos, we talked about action plans and how they can be a shortcut to execute multiple complex prompts through the NetBrain AI companion. And we actually executed one or two of these as well. But now let's focus on how they're built. In this demo, I'm going to focus on building a network security assessment action plan that I can then run on a map like the one you see here, through the AI companion. So let's go ahead and build this action plan. So we're going to navigate here to the AI bot manager. And within the AI bot manager, we have a few different sections. So the action plan, we can build the action plans, intent templates and intent from ADT, where we can actually add specific automations from NetBrain that the AI can reference when we enter prompts, like we saw in the path demo. This is where the intent is able to be referenced. We can even add specific CLI commands and configuration files to dictionaries that the AI can reference as well. So we're making sure it knows what commands to use at the right times. So let's go ahead though and focus on the action plan here. And I'm going to go ahead and add a brand new action plan. So we'll call this action plan Network Security Assessment. So now that we've named our action plan, we can see here the next step will be to actually enter it. Now, what you can see here is this is just a normal text box. So I can simply enter plain text that is prompts that will be sent to the AI, or I can leverage my pre-built automations, right, that I've built in the past. I can reference other action plans I might have, and I can use other smart prompts as well, like naming devices and CLI. I have my action plan content here. I'll paste it in, and it is as follows. So it's going to say for the device, we're going to execute the below checks. Now I've just put 2 here for this demo, but of course you can have as many as you want. So here we're going to check for SSH, verify if SSH is enabled, and the compliant is that SSH must be enabled. That's the compliant condition. For STP mode, we're going to issue show spanning tree summary to a switch to confirm if STP is enabled and configured for rapid PVST. The not compliant condition here is if SCP is not configured for rapid PVST. It's not applicable for devices other than a switch, right? So we're making sure that we're also including all our conditions. to make sure that this runs exactly how we want it to. And that's the good thing about the action plan is we don't have to worry about typing this in every time into the bot. Now that it's in here, it's just going to be executed as part of the shortcut. And we're making sure that anyone that executes this is going to have the appropriate output. So the next thing we can do is go to the description and input variables. And here we can add a description, right, for this action plan. So right, perform SSH and SDP assessments. And then here we can create the prompt for the AI. What does the prompt look like and what do we want the user to add as part of the prompt? So of course, we're going to call the action plan and their variable has to be device. Right? And it's going to be the device or devices to execute the plan on. So now we have completed our action plan, right? We have our content, and now we have what the prompt is going to look like and what the shortcut is going to look like. So we'll enable it and we'll save it. And let's go ahead and go back to our map and go to our AI bot. Now we can click on action plan and we can see our network security assessment check is right here. And again, when we highlight over it, we see the content of the plan. I can go ahead and select it and I can say on all map devices. And now the AI will go ahead and perform those network security assessments on all of the map devices. Now we can see it's running the appropriate commands on each device to get us the output of this assessment. And now we can see the assessment is done and we have the result here in a nice table. So for each device, we can clearly see the SSH status and the SDP mode. We even get key insights done here as well, right? Summarizing the output for us in an easy to read manner. This is also something we could quickly send to, a security team or our boss to give them a summary of the compliance checks we did, and then maybe follow up with a detailed report. We've learned how to use NetBrain's AI bot to troubleshoot network issues effectively and efficiently. We also saw how action plans can be used to quickly perform complex operations via the AI bot. But that's just the beginning. Learn more about all the benefits of NetBrain's AI bot at our webinar every Monday, where we go deeper into these innovative new features. Are you ready to experience NetBrain yourself with a full hands-on interactive test environment? We're offering 90-minute instructor-led sessions where you can experience the power of AI and automation in action to increase troubleshooting efficiency and proactively protect against future issues. Whether you just want to learn more or want to get hands-on in one of our experience labs, we invite you to go to any of the links in the description and join us at netbrain.com.